Welcome back to the news at 10. Well, in the spirit of Salah, the destitute are not being left out as Lagosians visited Ebute Metta in Lagos bearing gifts. Perishables and consumer items were distributed by the visitors to the various groups that make up the community. And the occupants who came from different parts of the country were relocated there over 15 years ago by the former military administrator Buba Marwa to keep them off the streets.
Street begging in Lagos State is frowned on, and the state government has taken various steps to deal with this ugly trend, including constant raids and arrest of the beggars, some of whom have continued to defy orders. About 17 years ago, the Lagos State government provided a settlement for them in order to keep them off the streets. Here at Okobaba in Ebute Metta, it's a wet day, and as usual, the place is muddy. But the home of the destitute, hosted by this community, is not deserted. Visitors are seen coming in and out with different packages for these beggars, whose wives and children all together reside here. There are 3 camps in this community based on the sufferer's ailment: the blind, physically challenged, and leprous. And each camp has its leaders. We interacted with some of them.
We thank Lagosians as they come and visit us, as according to the Lagos State government that we are not allowed to go out and be begging outside. And we abide with the law. We stay inside here. And people have been coming here to visit us. We thank God. We thank Lagosians.
We thank all of you as now come. So now hear our voice. So now remember us with that. Thank you very much.
Though most of the visitors were not willing to speak with us, one of them, however, expressed delight at being here.
I come from Sabeba to enjoy Salah Eid with my people here. So I pray any problem that happen for this nation, she will save. So everybody keep in prayer, and I pray. So I call all the other community, she keep in prayer.
The chairman of the local council, who also sent his goodwill message to the community, says his relationship with them has been cordial.
So we have come to know each other for a longer period than before I even became the chairman of the local government. And the relationship at that personal level had always been good. So for me, it was not too difficult when I became the chairman to continue the relationship even on a higher level.
While the state government makes efforts to keep these beggars off our streets, frequent visits by Lagosians to this community may help them resist the temptation of going back to the streets.
Well, 50% of cassava produced in Cross River State is wasted, and the reason, according to the state government, is because of low patronage. The Commissioner for Agriculture, Mr. James Anyom, also said that the government is already involving the private sector to equip and help farmers revive agriculture.
With increasing population in Nigeria, agriculture remains a major sector of the economy, accounting for 22% of the country's rebased gross domestic product as of 2012. And with all the moves to enable Africa to feed itself, even the farmers realize the importance of this field.
Farmers, they feed the nation as well. Without farmers, the nation cannot grow. Nobody can eat, and nobody can go up without eating.
I'm a graduate, but due to unemployment in our country, I just have to do this in order to earn a living.
Nigeria's South Cross River State has taken the lead in helping to ensure food production and security. Oil palm, cocoa and cassava production are some of the products it prides itself in. The state government has continued to strengthen the sector through the provision of agricultural tools and seedlings. Cassava production and processing sector is also booming.
50% of cassava produced in Cross River State go bad because they leave them on the ground. They don't harvest them because there are no buyers. So we're trying to get an investor to come and set up a processing plant for pellets and flour.
But what is the state government doing about this?
What we're trying to do is get a big investor to come and take over cocoa. And we have like 4 government estates that we're looking at. And we're bringing an investor to come and take over those estates. That's our long-term strategic plan. For the northern part of Cross River State, we're trying to revive cashew production in the Goja area. So we'll get a partner too that will partner with us and have a processing plant, because the essence is to have processing plant in each of the senatorial district. That will help them, help our farmers, even boost production of those targeted crops, and the farmers will make money, more money. We're trying to get a processing plant for cassava in the Bubra area.
Agriculture remains a dominant source of food supply and employment. If Cross River State continues in its vision of putting more attention in this area, it will boost food production and security in the state as well as the nation.
And to Anambra State, where a leading member of the People's Democratic Party, Chief Arthur Eze, has put aside political differences by giving the state government 1.2 billion naira to support Governor Willie Obiano in his development of agriculture and security in the state. Now, this support is coming on the heels of appeals to the citizens by the state government to support such initiatives.
It's somebody that believes in a cause, and he has seen that we mean well, and is very willing to help us. As you're already aware, he has committed to support me in agriculture, which you know is one of my cardinal points. He is also supporting me massively in security, you know. So I'm very delighted to be here this evening, and I keep praying that God will extend his life and continue to bless him so that he can continue to reach the poor masses, which has been his mission all his life.
First Bank.
Thank you for joining us on Business News. I'm Loretta Chiogo. Nigeria's Consumer Confidence Index for June has dropped from 1.6 to 69.5, and that's according to an analysis by NOIPOLS, a country-specific polling service in Nigeria. The Consumer Confidence Index, which measures consumers' perception of the economy and future expectations, comprises of 2 independent variables: the Present Situation Index, PSI, and Expectation Index, EI. The PSI decreased by 0.7 points to 61.7, while the EI increased by 1.7 points to 79.3, showing that despite the perceived decline in the present situation of consumers, optimism about their future status and that of the economy increased slightly. Also measured was the Current Economic Situation Index, which increased from 1.4 points in May to 34.7. Expectation of the country's Economic Situation Index, which dropped 0.4 points to 85.5, and Current Employment Condition Index, which dropped 1.8 points to 57.4 for the period under review. Others also measured was the Expected Employment Condition Index, Current Prices of Goods and Services Index, as well as the Expectation of Prices of Goods and Services, among others. Financial markets in the country reopen tomorrow, Wednesday the 30th of June, after a 2-day break declared by the federal government to commemorate Eid al-Fitr. Stockbrokers at the Nigerian Stock Exchange are also expected back to work tomorrow. At the currency market, dealers anticipate that the naira will appreciate gradually against the dollar this week as energy companies buy local currency to meet domestic obligations. On Friday last week, the local currency traded at 161 naira 5 kobo to the greenback. Market operators are calling on retail investors in the stock market to engage more in mutual fund investment pattern than the direct investment option. This is because they envisage that most retail investors have difficulty in monitoring their investment portfolios directly. They advise that if such an investor belongs to this category, mutual funds has a way of helping them to reduce losses. Our correspondent Temple Ashaju reports.
Investing in stocks market requires a meticulous monitoring of shares prices. But an average retail investor hardly has time for this. And to help out in this regard, market operators came up with the Mutual Fund Initiative to ease the burden involved in investing.
It's a pool of funds. Small savers will pool their funds together, and they will now use the bulk of their funds for investments. As compared to when each individual will now go to the market and buy each individual shares.
The major advantage of mutual fund is that you can make a basket of investments in what we call portfolio by pooling small investors' money and putting it into those stocks that they couldn't ordinarily afford. It's not everybody that can afford Nestle, but if we are 10 that can contribute small amount of money, we make a pool that can now get into such big stocks. That's the essence of mutual fund.
But some investors often doubt their investment analysts. So how then can this mindset be changed?
If the fund is registered, experts are there. They must have gone through all the regulatory requirements. They even have a trust deeds in some of these funds. Okay, the trust deeds specify the amounts to be invested in a particular equity, the rules and regulations. So the experts or the professionals there can't just do whatever they like. It is being regulated. So the risk is reduced.
The stock market is still one of the popular money spinners around. But one must always bear in mind that despite not being a gamble, you can either gain or lose. Temple Ashaju, Channels Television News.
And that's it on business news. It's back to Ijoma for the rest of the news at 10.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Team Nigeria may lose its gold medal at the 2014 Commonwealth Games as weightlifter Chika Amalaha is provisionally suspended for failing drugs tests. That's on sports. Stay with us.